Now, I have already made a very in depth video about all the times my mother has tried to kill me, or at least that other people went, yeah, sounds like she was trying to kill you. But you could tell the bitch really hated me, which is why it was so funny, like all of the obsessive shit that she kind of like did last year to be strange and unusual. I remember during the pandemic, I was extremely depressed. Because, of course, I would be. I was stuck in the house with a whole bunch of people I didn't fucking like. Isolated as fuck, and then even when I did try to date people, it went fucking terribly. But what really, really had me fucked up, there was this couple that lived in our neighborhood, and it was so sweet because every single Sunday they would get out and start playing the flute as and the saxophone, and like, it was just like nice romantic sunny ass like jazz music, very sweet, very wholesome, very demure. And I remember, like, at first I would just hear them from my window, but I remember I would get depressed so much that I would lose track of time. And, like, I didn't leave my room very often. Not much made me happy. But then they started playing that music, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna sit on my porch, and you know what? I'm gonna even bring my art supplies and draw as they like, and maybe even bring out some juice or some water so I can just enjoy them and like realize that life is beautiful. I can sit on the porch, enjoy the nice wind blowing, the sight of the lemon trees and the hills, listen to them singing their tunes, see the whole community and neighborhood, people walking their dogs would stop on our porch. Everyone was happy. You know who wouldn't be happy? My fucking mother. Why? Because she's a goddamn beast from hell. And like, I remember, like, you couldn't do shit around my mother. It could be like, oh no, Tamia ordered DoorDash for herself, even though I don't buy her food and I'm not doing good at taking care of her. Wow, how dare she? Fuck her. Tamia's cooking in the kitchen and cleaning. How dare she? And fuck her because she's making me look bad or feel bad, or I'm worried she's gonna make a mess. Even if I did clean up perfectly well, and even if I cleaned up a mess of her own, she would still get mad because then it's making her look bad or whatever. Like, I remember once in high school, I remember I just simply cleaned up a microwave that we had that was like, she left some butter uncovered, just like rotting and melting on top of the microwave for weeks. And I remember I thought I would be nice and like clean this up and wash this little plate, and it should be fine because it's like it's barely enough to even cover a piece of toast with. And she has literally like more than fucking 8 to 9 sticks or like fucking packages of the Irish gold fucking curry butter in the fridge, right? But I remember she still got home and raged so hard about that she wanted to just punch me dead in my face. So yeah, that's kind of like, people ask how it was easy to estrange my parents. Shit like that made it fucking simple. Because, simply put, if someone is just kind of committing themselves to getting joy, or just because they feel like it, being a beacon of hate in your life, then simply put, estranging them is easy. Because if you already have every single moment when you're not around them being blissful, then yeah, estrangement is just like, oh, you're telling me I could get a lifelong vacation from this eternal hell I've been stuck in? Why, don't mind if I do. All I have to do is pay my own bills, and, that's fine, okay. Like, but simply put, she made it like a lifelong mission for herself to just be a cunt. So I remember even when it was clearly benefiting me that these people were playing music, and I would simply be like, oh, you know what? They're playing music. Let me hurry up. Let me wash my face and like wash my body parts real quick, and then like grab some more supplies or like a cup of water or a cookie or something and sit on the porch and listen to them peacefully without disturbing anybody. She'd still make a huge scene, like, look at her coming out of her room finally. Wow, look at her just sitting out there. She always wants to rush her ass out there and just fucking listen to me. It's like, bitch, how are you making it seem like she's acting as if I'm out there just like doing drugs and fucking niggas? It's like, no, I'm out there politely sitting on a porch listening to jazz music. And she would try to make a mockery about it as much as possible, like to an obscene extent where I kind of knew it's like, it kind of made it worse. But I still persevered. I was like, okay, if that means I have to walk down this long dark hallway and hear this bitch talking shit, and I get to sit on my porch, and then I still can hear her loudly saying from inside the house, like, there she goes sitting outside. She always want to be sitting outside, just doing that. And then just talking shit for me, just listening to, like, what, 30 minutes of jazz music outside, listening to fresh air, being happy and healthy. I'm just saying, parents like that are so goddamn dumb. They will always want to act like their kids are these failures or disappointments or going nowhere in life. And it's like, there's people doing a million times worse. And then you're complaining because it's like, I have a child who is making art and peacefully like listening to music. or like baking or cleaning the house or being happy. I'm just saying, it's like, yeah, that was one of those moments where I was like, yeah, I can just tell she hates me. There's a million worse stories, but I'd say that kind, like, how do I put this? Sometimes it doesn't even have to be nonstop, constant fucking terror and terrible shit. Sometimes it can really just be succinct. Kind of like how, a stab wound would hurt, getting slapped would hurt, but a splinter that was always present and you knew you could never get it out of your skin, but anytime you moved, anytime you did anything, you'd feel it aching and throbbing in you or being infected. And even if it was just the smallest splinter ever, you would feel it everywhere you go. Simply put, estranging from your family, even if they're not inherently like evil 24/7, if you still just feel like a throbbing ache of emptiness or you can't do shit around them, then they're kind of just like a little splinter or like a backache or a toothache. Simply put, they become something you can do without and don't picture that you need or want because there's no joy in having them around. So estranging from them was like removing a splinter, was like waking up without a migraine, was like finally consistent, like that first breath of fresh air after sickness where you can breathe in through both nostrils and your throat. I went through a bunch of traumatic shit with her, without her, and because of her. And hell, some of the traumatic shit I went through, I didn't talk to her about because I knew she'd make it worse or do nothing. Simply put, and she has always lived up to that. So estranging her was the easiest thing in the world. And so my most comforting thing that I always say is I hope that she got enough joy out of causing me pain and enough laughs and giggles for an entire lifetime. Because she gave me a very solid lifetime of pain, and I could have left this planet at any time because of her. She wouldn't have known, she wouldn't have cared, shit would have been awful. And simply put, I'll put it like this: she acted like it was a burden to see me and that everything I did was either useless, ruining her life, or something to mock. So I hope she has thoroughly enjoyed the lifetime she has had to bring me misery, all for the sake of her own pleasure, joy, and power, because, like, the supply for her narcissistic ego has ran out. You got other children to hurt, not me. And it was just something amusing about seeing people, related to me or not, beg me to get back in contact with her. And it's like, for what? For what? What would that, like, what? She wants to feel like she was a good parent? That she accomplished something? That she has a loving daughter that likes her? No. She has one daughter. Let's just say there were plenty of nights where I could have easily stood over her bed and done some very fucked up things. We should be very grateful that instead I said I will be quiet and just silently plan out a life that will be ultimately better than anything she can give me. And I did. And she got mad about it, but that's not my fucking issue. Why would I go back? It's something like bittersweet and very frustrating, but almost sort of euphoric about seeing someone who caused you a lifetime of pain simply raging because they don't have access to you. I've had it a million times over in my life, but good God. Something about that feels like beating a final boss, where it's just like, look at you. You didn't like me before, and now you suddenly like me and want me now. No, thank you. You hurt me when I was even more vulnerable and when I actually had some semblance of, would I call it care? I will call it sympathy for you. That has ran out.